They will find some pretty girl who never knew my name to say that I was a nice guy, to say that I was a quiet guy, that nobody ever thought I could do this, but I could, and I did. Am I a monster for that? Captain Crunch and 2% milk, a killer with a motive, or a kid with a streak for blood on his hands? Or did they deserve it? Reporters talk as if they've known me for years. Really, they don't even know my middle name or yet why I killed them. Love. I love you. Did you love me on the day that you told me to stay home? I thought you were cutting class, but you intended to call classmates. A young girl in love with the killer and jealous of the reporter. Insecure of her own beauty and yet confused about her lover's feelings for her. It just takes a little practice, or maybe she doesn't know. He loves me not. Warm. In the newspaper this morning, she said you were a nice guy, that you were a quiet guy, that nobody ever thought you could do this, especially me. A mother's emotions when she finds out her son's a killer, and all the memories that go with it, her heartache, her pain, when she finds out her child has done this. Warm. In the newspaper this morning, she said you were a nice guy. They said you were a quiet guy. Nobody ever thought you could do this, especially me, honey. All I could see is you eating breakfast. You loved Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch. You always corrected me on that. When you were little, sometimes you refused to eat nothing else but Captain Crunch. Filling yourself up with sugar on that day. Were there crunch berries in your stomach? Why do I continuously dream of guns, of bullets, of weeping parents, of you in an electric chair, or of parents weeping of you in the electric chair? When my water broke, we rushed to the hospital. In the hospital, your father told me to push. Maybe I just pulled the trigger and you exploded from my barrel like a bullet. Obviously, didn't check my sights like you did. Did you check your sights? Did you check carefully, construct each piece of collateral in your crosshairs? If I could cross out anything you did, would you still be my child? Would you still be my little monkey climbing over everything? Maybe it's just a gross error of judgment on my part. Was I engrossed in my love for you, that I forgot sometimes happiness is a warm gun? Was it warm, dear? The spotlights are on you now. Do you feel more like hugs than any of the empty-armed attempts? People now tell us that it's our fault, that words picked out the victim's wounds like sharpeners. What do you think the death penalty is? Bang. Why do you own your own gun? Bang. Why did you raise a godless monster? Bang. I picked your name from a page in the Bible, hoping you would find grace in the progress. Instead, you found grace with a burst of brimstone read in the paper. The names of your victims: Margaret, Harry, Austin, Lisa, Ardent. Did you mean to kill Lisa? I remember you two playing places up from the playground sand when your actions pre-planned or simply providence. Did their names in that notebook have a meaning? Did you chart for your gun, powder, boats? Think back, and I tried to remember how I saw you that morning, how I remembered you before all those pictures were riddled with bullet holes. Then I realized I cannot recall your face before the fireworks, before you were blinded by flash bulbs, and how hungry they looked. Maybe if I held them, you wouldn't have to warm them by firearms. Love. In the newspaper this morning, she said you were a nice guy. They say you were a quiet guy. Nobody ever thought you could do this. Is it wrong that I felt jealous? That girl talking to the reporters was so pretty, like someone you cut out a magazine or hired to replace a cosmic line. Pretty, prettier than I'll ever be. I could never compete with that. You always told me I was beautiful in the world, but I felt like a loaded gun, all potential powder, ready to explode with words. I love you. Did you love me on that day you told me to stay home? I thought you were cutting class, but instead you intended to call classmates. Is it preventing my collateral catastrophic? The same as a banquet of roses, I'm plucking body bags from my brain. Steam saying he loves me not, he loves me not. Those body bags, were you thinking of me when you kissed me? I felt bullets rocket in my belly. Was that just practice? When you held my hand, did you think of it as a gun? My pulse was a waiting trigger. When you looked into my eyes, did you see waiting caskets on our first date? A panic when we ate Captain Crunch and 2% milk. You looked into my eyes and told me that I was beautiful. I couldn't shake those syllables like sand from my hair. They say when you love someone, you feel butterflies in your stomach. That's what I thought I felt. But maybe it was a butterfly knife fluttering open and closed, like your eyes when you kissed me. Were your lips a muzzle? Was my younger a barrel? Were your hands on me searching for a trigger? Was our love a cry for help? Even after the newspaper published those pictures, your broken face in the mirror grins of the dead and the wounded. I can't help but long for you. I miss your hands that clung to mine with such purpose, yet the delicately they were holding like bombs. I miss the way you kiss me. Does my love make me an accomplice? Am I just another shell in the chamber? People ask me, what was it like to love a monster? And I tell them, it was amazing. Captain Crunch and 2% milk. In the newspaper this morning, she said I was a nice guy. They said I was a quiet guy, that nobody ever thought I could do this. But I did. But you just want to know how, I'll tell you. I poured a bowl of Captain Crunch and 2% Captain Crunch cereal into my bowl and added 2% milk. And I ate because breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's not every day one goes down in history a monster, but could it be? Only on this day I took my father's 22 and in that many seconds, stop.